Clearly, it's not just about houses, it's about jobs as well, it's about businesses, it's about the economy. And clearly what we will be trying to do is identify a range of land for business activities. We'll try and position some of them close to housing so that actually journeys to work don't necessarily have to be very long. We want to protect some of the existing employment land areas so they can continue to make a contribution to the economy. We want to be able to help the rural areas in terms of diversifying their economy. And we have a very large proposal around Coventry Airport, not Coventry Airport itself, which is of, I suppose, of a regional scale, regional significance. And that's something which, at this stage, we're actually putting forward as a proposition within our local plan, because that area of land is actually within Warwick district. And in terms of, if you think about it in terms of jobs, that scheme is estimated to potentially cater for something like 12,000 jobs. Now, we're able to pull that off with white employment off the map for a generation, if we can achieve that. So, very significant. Our town centres are important. I don't know, but I have been proud to have been associated with a lot of the stuff that's gone on in Kenilworth Town Centre. So it shows what can be done with some thought and some effort about how you can turn a town centre around. There's some other stuff that we need to do in the other town centres as well, and actually no town centre ever stays the same. It's sort of rather like a garden really. It might have been flourishing at one stage, but you always need to continue to kind of look at it as the seasons change. Well, as time goes by, as the town changes, the town centre needs to remain vital and vibrant, needs to reflect that as well. So you always need to constantly look at the town centre. Greenbelt, talking about that. So, key thing there is continue to protect the Greenbelt. Most of the Greenbelt will be unaffected. Talked to you about these before. So, built environment, we're looking at the garden town style. We're looking at how we can actually reduce energy usage, for example. We'll work with our police to say when we're designing new communities, new estates, what might we do to actually avoid some of the problems we've got with existing areas? It's not to kind of turn them into mini fortresses, but if there are very simplistic things that, where in previous designs have caused obvious problems, actually if we learn from that, we can avoid them for the future. That's something we need to do. And I've talked to you already about green infrastructure. It's important for this area. It's part of the joy, I think, of living here. Infrastructure, we need to kind of, this needs to be part of the plan as well. So the roads, the pipes, as I call them, well that's the water coming in or the sewage going out. We need to make sure that's it and that actually we've got capacity to actually serve the need. But it's also, if you like, the people-related stuff. So the 2 doctor surgeries in Kenilworth, are they big enough to cater for an expanded list? I know the answer to that already as well. No, they're not. So how are we going to deal with that? Well, in that case, I'm going to meet them and talk to them about how we're actually going to deal with it. The same is true for the schools. Is this school big enough? If it's not, what are we going to do? And there are opportunities to get some funding which can help to address that thing. And again, on the green infrastructure side, the same is true. We shouldn't just think that infrastructure is just hard stuff, as in buildings or roads or pipes or whatever. It's also actually about the softer stuff as well. Now, that's just an indication of kind of some ideas at very high level about some of the transport. If you're worried about the red line, don't worry, it's not an earthquake fault line, although it might be considered to be similar because it's called HS2. But we have to show just to stay where it is and make it clear we are not proposing it. Not the opposite. Well, there are some ideas about what we have to kind of think about and how to deal with some of the transport issues we might be faced with across the district, but also particularly here in Kenilworth. And that's some idea about some of the areas we might expand in terms of green infrastructure. So using some kind of, if you like, kind of links along river valleys and so on, to kind of offer greater opportunity for people to actually enjoy our countryside. And just as another example, that's the sort of assessment we will have done. So thick thorn, we're actually saying education-wise, we actually think that means the town needs another primary school in rural service. So that's the kind of infrastructure planning that we'll be doing have started to do, and we have got some of that as a draft plan. We need to do more on that before we come to the next stage of the planning process. And a long, long list of other infrastructure that we need to kind of make sure we understand the consequences of. So, I'm not quite sure whether I stuck to my 20 minutes or not, but you haven't told me that you're not. So I'm presuming that I was going, not too many people yawned, I was kind of walking around, so I hope it pitched it about right. Just to reiterate, consultation ends on the 27th of July. There are a whole array of exhibitions. In fact, one of the leaflets back there has the programme of the public consultation as well. There are public meetings, there'll be other meetings like this. You don't need to turn up in person. You can, of course, communicate with us virtually, because everyone can these days. Alongside this, we do have a draft green space strategy as well. Now, the two do kind of very closely fit together, but it is a separate document. So we would encourage you, if you're interested, to have a look at that as well. And of course, go back to it. The website, if you want more detail, it's already up. warwickdc.gov.uk/new local plan. So that holds a lot more information. And if you have any more specific queries, then clearly you can phone my colleagues in the planning policy team, and they'll be happy to kind of respond to that. If you want to ask a question now, I'm very happy to do so. I should do the next steps. This isn't the end, I should say. By the end of this year, we will have to prepare what we call a draft local plan, and there will be another round of consultation on that. But at that stage, we do need to have the infrastructure delivery plan, in a sense, complete for the purpose of that public consultation as well. Now, it says something there, a SIL scheme. And if you don't know it, SIL stands for Community Infrastructure Levy. Potentially, it's another way in which the local authority effectively can extract value from developers to actually pay for the infrastructure I've been talking about. In very simplistic terms, there is a process that we have to go through to get that scheme agreed, but it is nevertheless an opportunity and actually a much better way, in many respects, for the local authorities to be able to get the funding to provide the infrastructure that so often local authorities get criticised for not having made sure it's provided. So know that that's happened a lot in the past, and it's been actually a correct criticism, and this is a tool that we now have that we intend to deploy. And the draft local plan will be subject again to consultation March, April next year, and after that there will be a public inquiry with an independent inspector who will, in a sense, kind of, I suppose, adjudicate between the disputing parties. And then after that, it will come back to us. We may make some changes in light of the inspector's report, and then hopefully by April 2014, the local plan will then be adopted. I would say that's quite key that we can kind of keep to that timetable, because if not, then the bit of the National Planning Policy Framework which says, basically it says, applications should be approved if they're in accordance with the local plan, but if you haven't got a local plan, actually the default is, broadly speaking, yes. So it is in the interest of the local community to have a local plan in place, because it isn't a question of this or that, it's a question of, if we don't have it, we might end up with something that none of us want. And on that point, I will finish. Thank you.